far, we have been practicing in creating cash flow statement. Essentially, you start from net income and you do a bunch of adjustments. You first adjust non-cash items included in net income. These are as such: add non-cash expenses, subtract non-cash revenues. Add losses on sale of equipment and investments, subtract gains on the sale of equipment and investments. Then adjust for changes in current assets and liabilities, in other words, accruals. Add decreases in current assets, subtract increases in current assets. Add increases in current liabilities, subtract decreases in current liabilities. Ta-da! We are done. Let me show you a chart that I downloaded from Stat Economics. These are good people with a lot of interesting material on their website. This chart depicts revenues, income, and cash flow over a firm's life cycle. First on top is revenues. This is standard. Start at zero, grows fast and steep, then at end of maturity it declines and goes back to zero. Net income, on the other hand, starts from a negative. Startups always have negative equity, negative income. You spend more on R&D and marketing than actually selling to customers. So you start with a negative net income. Then income increases steeply until maturity and then declines to close shop. Please note that we will still operate when net income is negative. Income is not cash, and negative income does not necessarily mean you are losing cash. Finally, to the important set of graphs at the bottom, the different elements of cash. First, cash flow statement from financing is very positive at the beginning, since we are borrowing from bankers and investors and are pumping cash to grow the business. This is a period of very positive financing. Financing is positive over the life cycle of the firm until the decline stage, when we start liquidating assets and paying back bankers and investors. Investments is negative from the start. We are spending cash flow to grow, and continues to be more negative until middle maturity. At this point in time, we're simply selling off assets to pay financiers. Operations start with a negative, just like net income, since at the beginning we simply are paying for marketing, sales channels, research, but you are not really getting cash for it. Once in the middle of the growth stage, cash starts to flow in, and operations becomes positive. Steep growth in the CFO continues until maturity, where we start declining, and once the CFO becomes close to zero, we shut down. Please note that the decision to close shop depends more on the CFO than on net income. Cash flow management is extremely important. I was doing my PhD in 2000 when the dot-com bubble burst. It was mayhem. Thousands of internet businesses had to close down, but a few smart ones survived. Some of these survivors became one of the most important companies that the world knows today. Amazon is one of them. Of course, Microsoft, Oracle are other examples. One reason Amazon survived was because it was quite clever in managing its cash flows. Look at the numbers I have in front of you. Net income is a negative of 27.6 million. But the bottom number, the CFO, is a positive 3.52 million. So how does a negative income become positive cash? Pause and think. Well, Amazon was clever enough and had enough market power back in the late 90s to let others pay for its expenses. In other words, although it spent an incremental 8.4 million purchasing books, look at the change in inventory account, this negative cash outflow was offset by 29.8 million of unpaid expenses under accounts payable, and another 5.06 million of other liabilities and unpaid expenses. So, Jeff Bezos, in his early days, was one tough negotiator. He got a lot of services, including suppliers, that he did not pay off until very much later. In other words, I run a business. Revenues I receive in cash, and customers always paid Amazon on the spot when purchased the book. But when it comes to expenses, I delayed them long enough so that I don't have to pay anything until all my cash flows are in. In other words, I let the suppliers keep me afloat. Given that I'm a tough negotiator and they do not mind waiting, Amazon was a rising star at that point, and everyone was eager to do business with it.